Hey, what's up guys? Jimbo back again. It's knife review time. This is one that I've had in my collection for just about a month and a half now. Been kind of carrying it off and on, but actually been carrying it for weeks at a time. And this is actually one that my main vendor and slash co-sponsor of the MrJimbofox channel, White Mountain Knives, Justin, had suggested to me that I go ahead and give it a try. This is a new model for 2010, and he thought I might like it. And I guess inside this review, we'll find out, right? Okay, today we've got model 1605, the Kershaw Clash. Again, this is brand new for 2010. This is the latest collaboration between Mr. Ken Onion, one of my personal favorite knife designers, and Kershaw Knives. This is a budget-conscious knife, comes in around 20 to 30 bucks depending on where you get it. I think I got it for about $25 ship, so again, this is very, very affordable. But let's go ahead and jump right into the specs. Okay, the blade length on this guy comes in at exactly 3 inches. The close length comes in at 4 1/4 inches, giving it an overall length of 7 1/4 inches. Blade material is the Chinese 8CR 13 MOV. This actually features a bead blasted finish, which I will show you in the front row seat portion of this review. Okay, and not forgetting the weight on this guy comes in at 4 ounces, which I don't think, normally I would think that's a little bit heavy, but given the width and the girth and the overall dimensions of this knife and just the feel of it in your hand, it really doesn't feel like a 4-ounce knife. It feels like a mid 3-ouncer to me. It is a Chinese made knife. As you can see there, it says made in China. 8CR 13 MOV is actually a Chinese steel. It's more or less the Asian equivalent of the American AUS 8. Very, very close in its properties. Again, you can see model 1605, Kershaw. The blade shape on this guy, Kershaw doesn't really say exactly what the blade shape is. I would call it a clip point, almost a drop point, simply because of the way the blade slopes right here. It's not really any particular style of blade shape. It's kind of a mishmash of a few different styles actually, which is not all that uncommon for a design from the one and only Mr. Ken Onion. He likes to kind of build hybrids of certain blade shapes, which is really cool, and that's one of the reasons I've always liked his designs. The handle material is a black injection molded polyamide. It does have a polyamide backspacer in there, so this is not a flow-through design. It is put together with Torx screws, so if you would like to take it apart for cleaning, that is not a problem whatsoever. The deployment on this guy does not have thumb studs, as you can see here. This is flipper only, but it does feature speed safe technology, which so far is my personal favorite of the assisted opening technologies, as far as consistently opening the blade in a very fast and easy motion. So it's good stuff. This is a liner lock. Liner is just about 50-50 as far as where it rests. It really hasn't changed since I got it. It pretty much started right in that position, virtually dead center of the blade. This does have full stainless steel liners, which are partially skeletonized. I only see a few little chunks coming out of there, but this is it's a hefty guy, man. It's not really super heavy for a 3-inch knife, but this thing does have some girth to it, which in my opinion is not a really bad thing given this knife design. The pocket clip on this guy is tip up or tip down, right side only. Sorry lefties, Kershaw lefty out on this one. I do like this pocket clip design. I like actually how thick it is, and just kind of how wide it is, really, how it kind of comes down. And as I've made an issue of it in several of my previous Kershaw reviews, how where Ken Onion Kershaw designs, it seems to be that they're okay when you go to tip down carry, but when you go to tip up, you got like this huge chunk sticking out. That is actually really not as much of a case with this particular knife, so it looks like they've seen the error of their ways and done their best to fix that, but I'll show you that in the carry view. You do have a little bit of jimping right here that I'll be honest with you is utterly useless. You do also have some down here on the liner, but most importantly, I think where the jimping really shines on this thing is the top of the flipper, because this does not open quite as easily as something like a scallion, a chive, or a leek. It seems to have a little bit more tension behind it when you get your thumb back there, but the little bit of jimping right there actually helps you get a really good bite on it. With this, it's really all about technique. If you're doing a sweeping thing like this, you're not going to get the blade open. It's just going to chew your finger out. It's more about building tension with your index finger, like so. You put it basically right so, and just push down this way, like that. And chakow, there you go. The grind on this guy is a very high hollow grind. As you can see, it comes down about 30%, maybe 20% of the blade. And you got that nice, huge section of belly right there on the blade, which makes this an absolutely outstanding choice for slicing. I've had no issues with that in that department with this knife. This has been a really, really great slicer. Really great at opening letters, cutting paper, cutting rope, all that stuff. This is also available in a partially serrated version. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of plain blades simply because it's easier to sharpen. I don't really see a huge need for serrations in my particular life. If that's different for you, you know, if you work with a lot of rope and stuff like that, then, you know, a partially serrated model would probably be for you. But for me, a plain blade just seems to do the trick every single time. Okay, let's check out the deployment and lockup of this guy. As I mentioned earlier, it's really all about building tension with your finger. And when you get the technique down, man, this sucker flies out. This is definitely one of the faster knives that I own. As far as pure deployment speed, it doesn't really get much faster than this. The lockup, very, very, very small amount of blade play, especially for a speed safe knife, man. That is really impressive, and especially for a knife of the price point of 20 to 30 bucks. That's just ridiculous, man. That's awesome. Another point of mention on here is the finger choil on this thing. I think it's freaking great. If you've got kind of medium-sized hands, which I consider mine to be, not too big, not really small, you get your index finger in there. And again, a little bit of jimping up there would definitely help, but you get such a good grip, you know, in your, what I'll call your little trigger finger here, that for cutting tasks, man, this is just freaking amazing. It just feels so comfortable in my hands that, you know, even without the jimping, because you've got a decently thick blade right there. I mean, look at that sucker. You can just put your thumb right back up there, man. You're good to go. The handle material itself feels really good in my hands. I'm a big fan of polymide. First discovered that on the Scallion, and it's really a handle material that I'm really growing to love, you know, as a good alternative to G10 or aluminum or anything like that. So good job, Kershaw. All right, let's see if we can get into some size comparisons here. We got Mr. Kershaw Clash in the middle. We're going to do a little bit of different ones today and bust this guy out. I haven't brought this out in a while. The SOG Flash 2, really popular knife. What else we got? How about Mr. CRKT Drifter? A little bit smaller than the Clash. Flash 2 is a little bit bigger. Definitely got a half-inch bigger blade, but it's a little bit longer in the handle. Let's bring in a couple Kershaws. Let's keep it in the family here. Kershaw League, one of my all-time favorites. And Mr. Kershaw Scallion, we got the onion thing going here, keeping it real. So as you can see, the Leak is virtually the same size as the Clash as far as the length is concerned. Clash is a little bit longer handle, but they both have a 3-inch blade. So I would definitely put them roughly in the same class. The Scallion, of course, is significantly smaller. Not too much smaller, but just give you a good comparison there. Now let's bring in old reliable Mr. Benchmade Mini Griptilian. The dimensions on these guys are pretty close. This is a 2.91-inch blade. That's 3 inches. So it's really not that far off. But as you can see, the Clash is a slightly longer handle. Now let's bring in some Spydercos. As you can see right there. It's got the new Spyderco Delica 4, full flat ground on the bottom, then the Spyderco Persistence on top. Delica is pretty close to the same length, closed, and same with the Persistence right there. Definitely the same class of knife as far as dimensions are concerned. Okay, let's do some blade length comparisons here. There's the Leak. See, I was saying earlier, the blade length is virtually the same. They're both roughly a 3-inch blade, but the handle on this guy's got a little bit more beef to it than the Leak. The Leak is definitely a more streamlined and thin knife, and this guy's more of a kind of a big grunt kind of deal. Not too big, you know. I'm not a huge fan of ginormous knives, but this guy I think is right in that sweet spot for me, where it's enough to fill your hand with heft, but not too big where it's cumbersome. So good job on that, Kershaw. All right, let's get the front row seat on here. You can check out that polymide handle. It's got kind of almost like ribbing right there on it that really gives it a good texture. I really like the feel of this. Then it's got almost like it's like scales right here and a little bit of ribbing right there along the spine. You can see that big old backspacer there. That's definitely one of the bigger ones I've seen. Comes down over the end right there. That awesome Kershaw pocket clip right there. It's got that etched onto the pocket clip material. Not sure if it's going to show up here. Yeah, there we go. You can see it does have bronze washers in the opening. You can see it on that side, which definitely helps with the deployment on this guy. Let's take a look at that blade. So you can see that high hollow grind, man. It only comes down a little bit of ways and it's just all belly. This is like a dude with a beer gut, man. All belly. Good stuff. It's made in China, HCR 13 MOV, model 1605, Kershaw patented. Gotta love that. The relief on this guy is really shallow as far as the actual cutting edge is concerned, but given that you've got so much belly on this guy and it comes to such a fine edge, I don't find that to be a problem. I think it's really great as far as slicing ability. I have not had a problem with this at all. And it's still on the factory edge, guys. I have not sharpened this yet. So, good job, Kershaw. Take a look at that liner there. See what I mean? It comes just about right in the middle there. Not too early, not too late. That's right in the sweet spot for me because it's so easy to get the liner loose. You don't really have to put a lot of effort into getting this guy to move. It's just the right amount of tension to be strong, but also easy enough to get it to unlock so that you can close the knife. Blade centering on it, no, not really center. It's a little bit off to my right there, but it does not scrape the handle scales or the frame or the liners or anything like that, so it's not really that big a deal to me, especially for a $20 to $30 knife. You know, I'm not going to be ultra demanding of it. One thing I really like about it is the noise that it makes. I know this may sound silly, but the noise that it makes when it deploys. I've never heard a knife make this kind of noise. It's almost like it reverberates through the entire handle scale, but we'll see if this shows up on camera. And it's just like that, like it just kind of slings open. Not like a metallic noise, but just like a click. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get into the carry view here. Thought I'd try something different from jeans, wearing cargo pants today. I'll show you got there. So as you see right there, it does stick out just a little bit. It's not nearly as bad as some of the complaints I've made against Kershaw knives for some of the other models, like the leak here, since that's another Kershaw onion. I think you'll see the difference. See, as you can see, that sticks way out there. You know, you got that. It's probably because of the shape of the blade, or the shape of the handle rather, because it kind of comes to a point where it just pokes out of your pocket. But this guy's, it's a little bit more subtle. I guess it's more the shape of the handle that makes it kind of less obvious, you know, where it just doesn't look like it's the whole thing's jarring out of your pocket. But I really like the carry on this. I think it's really comfortable. It's really good. It's tip up, tip down. Get it in there, pull it out, ready to rock and roll, man. As far as the carry's concerned, Mr. Onion, Kershaw knives, excellent job. Let's go ahead and do some cutting demonstrations here. Again, this is the factory edge. I have not sharpened this. See how we do. Look at that. There we go. Not bad for factory edge. Alright, in conclusion, I think the Kershaw Clash is a really great budget-conscious EDC knife. Again, it's usually between 20 to 30, maybe 35 bucks depending on where you get it. Again, I was able to get it for about 25 bucks shipped. Got a deal on it, it was on sale. So if you could pick one of these guys up, if you like Kershaw, if you like Ken Onion, if you like Speed Safe, I think you're definitely going to like this knife. It's a really great, we're going to call it a medium to large size knife, kind of walking the thin line between medium and large. It's got a really fast deployment if you like flippers like I do. You just really cannot go wrong with this guy. It's ATR 13 MOV, not quite Sandvik, but as you saw in the cutting demo, guys, the heat treatment on this guy is really good, and this thing really does the trick. The big, kind of thick, long belly on this guy makes this an absolutely outstanding choice for slicing. Not quite a full flat ground, but not really that far behind it. Again, for the price point, and you know, for Kershaw, this is new for 2010. I cannot wait to see the rest of the things that they've got in store for us knife collectors and knife enthusiasts, because so far as I'm concerned, they're off to a great start. I can absolutely give this one a MrJimbofox recommendation. As a matter of fact, for the price point, I would give this one a must-buy for Kershaw collectors, like myself. This is great. It's a great EDC option. If you don't have a lot of money, I think this is outstanding. I would put this in direct competition with something like the Spyderco Persistent / Tenacious, since they're virtually the same price. They're budget-conscious knives. You know, I would say that this is absolutely a competitor to that. Given the price point, the materials, and everything like that. They are the same blade steel. This, in my opinion, does have one slight advantage. It's got Speed Safe, and it's a Ken Onion design. Not that there's anything wrong with the Persistence, guys. I love my Spydercos. The Persistence is one of my favorite Spydercos. But there's just something about a flipper design Kershaw Ken Onion knife that will always sit well with me. So, good job, Kershaw. Good job, Ken Onion. I want to go ahead and thank everyone so much for their time. I appreciate everyone taking the time to watch this review. All the great comments and feedback I've gotten from you guys lately has just been awesome, and it's been very humbling. So thank you everyone so much for your time and everything. And as always, stay fit, stay strong, stay supreme. Take care, guys.